My name's Junior, and this is the 1028 project. Um, Hello, let me read this here. Introducing managing moderators. These users have the same. Okay, so let's close that for now. We don't have any monitors. There's nobody's going to be watching this anyway. So, but we're going live. So this is my 10-minute and 28-second project. So what the plan is I'm going to just come on here, go live, 10 minutes, 28 seconds. We'll see how it goes and go from there. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit of my day. Today I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a post and it was talking about dragging the boat. Now, and it's based on from what I gleaned a little later, it's based on a Buddhist story about building a raft. So it's a bit. So I'll tell the story. So basically, the story goes, you get to like this. There's this traveler, and he gets to a river, and he decides that he needs to cross the river, and it's a pretty big river, and so he needs to get across, and so can't wade through it, can't cross it on his own. So he stops and he builds a boat, builds a raft, or builds something. So anyway, he builds this boat and this raft, and it takes some time, and he puts a lot of hard work and effort into it. Anyway, so he gets this raft all built, this boat built, and then he finally gets it into the water. It floats. Surprise, surprise. And so he's happy that it's working. And he starts and he goes across the river. So he gets on the raft and he's floating across the river, finally gets across the river. And then once he gets across the river, he pulls the boat out of the river. Now, he thinks to himself, man, I spent a lot of time on that raft. It took me time to chop down the trees and to get the vines and to get everything put together and to tie it all together and to, build this boat. It took some time and effort, hard work. He was like, and he thought to himself, what if I need the raft what if I need this boat on my journey? And so he decides to carry this raft with him, even though there's no river. And so he starts, and it's like, at first it's like, okay, well, it's not that he's thinking ahead. Like, I'm thinking ahead. I'm planning for the future. This is what I need, right? And but then he comes to the realization that, why am I dragging this boat? Anyway, so that's the story. And the moral of it is sometimes we build things, sometimes we work on things, sometimes we dedicate perhaps an unreasonable amount of time to put this boat together and to use it to what we need it for. But then it becomes something that we're dragging behind us, that's slowing us down. And so I took that story and I threw it into ChatGPT, and I asked it, I said, like, from what you know about me, what are my boats? What are the things that I'm dragging along that I don't need anymore? And there were some pretty surprising answers in there. I think the biggest one that kind of hit me the hardest is that being in the entertainment industry, I've got a lot of friends who are just amazing, right? I've got friends who are on Broadway, who have been on Broadway. They've worked hard, and I'm proud of them. I'm excited for them. They're amazing, talented, wonderful people, right? And then I've got friends and acquaintances that have been on tours with Pink and with Taylor Swift and with all kinds of people. I've got a friend who's on tour in England and goes all over Europe, and I've got all these amazing, cool friends. I got a friend uh, who has been in an Academy Award winning movie in the last couple of years. So I mean, I've got some really talented friends and acquaintances. And so for me, like I'm looking at all my friends and all these people that I know and I love and I'm proud of and I'm supporting and I love them. But part of me is thinking, Junior, what's wrong with you? why why can't you be doing something like this? Why aren't you doing something like this? And I for a time I had some fun in the spotlight. I've personally been on tour all over Europe with a dance company, and I've traveled all over the country in the United States. We did stints in New York and Las Vegas, and I've lived in Hollywood. I've auditioned in Hollywood. I've taken acting classes and improv classes in Hollywood. Um, I've been in some really fun projects, multi-million dollar projects in Hollywood. And then before that, I worked for Cirque du Soleil. And so, like, I was in Las Vegas for 3 years, narrating a show in the newest casino at the time. Like, I'd done some pretty cool things. But I find myself here in Japan, and the job I had before the one I'm in right now, I felt pretty important as well. I felt like I was had a goal and a plan to move forward, my life forward, and I had these dreams of opening up restaurants all over the United States, and that was my plan, that was my goal, that was my dream, and then it kind of came crashing down around COVID time, and I started teaching English. Not a glamorous job. Not a spotlight job in Las Vegas, not a big stage in New York or Los Angeles. It's my audience went from being thousands of people to, 8 or 9 kids, or at the most, like when I'm teaching at a preschool, it's like 30 kids. So it's like and I go from these kind of like big, what I would call dream jobs and dream performances, to, you know, performing performing for kids. And so i- it's kind of one of those things where I start comparing myself to these friends and acquaintances who are doing well for themselves, and I'm proud of them. Like, I couldn't be more pleased that they're having success and that they deserve it because they're talented and they're just great people. But it still stings, you know? And I'm a little jealous because I've worked pretty hard and I've put in my dues, and to be in the position I'm at right now, where especially in Japan, it's like I teaching English is not the most glamorous of jobs. It's not the most rewarding in the sense that I'm not getting the attention, I'm not getting the acclaim, I'm not getting the those keys that I feel like I deserve. So my boat that I'm dragging, I guess what I'm trying to say, the boat that I'm dragging is this expectation that I deserve, or that I need to have that kind of recognition and that kind of uh, those things that come along with it, you know? Because I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not getting the applause from the audience. I'm not getting that feeling of getting that acclaim from my friends and family, things like, good job, like, wow, that's so amazing you're doing this. Like, where I've felt that in the past, doing that. But anyway, that's where I am. And that's 10 minutes and 28 seconds, almost on the nose. Love you guys.